Maya had 6 minutes to reach the final interview that could change her life. A man shoved a woman to the concrete, grabbed her bag, and ran. "Go," the woman gasped. "You'll miss it." Blood ran from her temple. Maya dropped beside her. "I'm not leaving you." 20 minutes later, the interview was gone. By midnight, Maya would lose her home too, and the stranger she stopped to save would lead her back to the company that had destroyed her father's name. Maya called emergency services and put the phone on speaker. The elevator to Vale Meridian Group was less than 30 feet away. Her phone showed 8:54. Final interview. 9th floor. 9 o'clock. The woman caught Maya's wrist. "You need to go." Maya looked once at the elevator, then at the blood on the concrete. "No." Sirens reached the garage minutes later. An officer asked whether Maya had seen the attacker. Black hoodie, gray sneakers. He ran toward the west ramp. "Can you stay for a statement?" Maya checked the time. 9:02. Yes. By the time she reached Vale Meridian's reception desk, it was 9:24. The receptionist found her name. "Maya Reed?" "Yes. Your interview was at 9. I know. There was an emergency downstairs. I'm sorry." The panel moved on. "Could I wait? They're booked through lunch." Maya could have explained the blood, the police, and the woman on the floor. Instead, she nodded. "Thank you for your time." 3 years of temporary jobs and rejected applications had led to that interview. Now it was gone because she had stopped for a stranger. She told herself she would make the same choice again. That did not make it hurt less. By noon, Maya was on a bus with $32 in her checking account. A voicemail from Denise waited on her phone. "Call me when you're done. We need to talk about Kyle." That sentence rarely meant anything good. Denise had taken Maya in when she was 13, after Maya's mother died. By then, Maya had already spent 4 years hearing the same story about her father, Daniel Reed. There had been trouble at work. He ran. He left debts behind. He chose himself. Later, Denise told her Daniel had died somewhere out west. Maya was 17 when she heard it. There had been no funeral she was invited to. There was no final letter. Denise also made sure Maya remembered what she had done for her. "I took you in when nobody else wanted you." It came up whenever Maya said no. When Maya opened the front door that afternoon, Denise sat at the kitchen table with 3 envelopes in front of her. Kyle was on the couch. Neither asked about the interview. Denise pushed one envelope across the table. Maya opened it. Her name was printed at the top. So was a loan balance she had never seen before. She looked at Kyle. "What is this?" Kyle rubbed his palms together. "I was going to tell you. You used my information. I needed money. You took out a loan in my name? Just calm down." Maya held up the missed payment notice. "You already stopped paying it." "I said I'll handle it." "With what?" Denise cut in. "Your brother is trying." "No. He is borrowing under my name." "Oh, he is family." Maya stared at her. "I missed my final interview this morning." Denise barely reacted. "You'll find another." Something inside Maya went still. "I'm reporting the loan." Kyle stood. "What?" "You used my identity." "I'm reporting it." Denise pushed back from the table. "You will not bring police into this house." "He brought fraud into it. After everything I have done for you?" "There it is." "What does that mean?" "Every time Kyle makes a mess, you hand me the bill." Denise pointed toward the hallway. "If that is how you feel, pack your things." For years, that threat had worked. That afternoon, it did not. Maya walked to her room and pulled an old suitcase from the closet. Denise followed. "You are being dramatic." Maya kept packing. "You walk out. Don't come back when you need us." Maya stopped. "I stopped expecting that a long time ago." She zipped the suitcase and left. At 10:40 that night, Maya sat in a 24-hour diner with her suitcase beside her and a cup of coffee she was trying to make last. She had missed the best interview she had ever earned. She had walked out of the only home she had, and in the morning she planned to report the only family she had left. Across the city, Rebecca Vale was being discharged from the hospital. Her brother Adrian stood beside her, while a police officer returned the few belongings recovered near the garage. Rebecca barely looked at them. "Did you find the young woman who stayed with me?" The officer checked his notes. "Maya Reed." She gave a statement. "Can I contact her? Can 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 I contact her? My thing. Olole. Olole. Can I contact her? We can forward a message through security." "Please do." The officer handed Rebecca a close incident photograph. It had been taken while Maya gave her witness statement. Maya was visible from the waist up. A small brass compass rested against her coat. One edge carried a deep crescent-shaped notch beside the north point. Rebecca froze. Adrian noticed. "What is it?" Rebecca brought the photograph closer. Nearly 20 years had passed since she had seen that compass. She did not know why Maya Reed was wearing it, but she remembered exactly who it had belonged to. Rebecca Vale's message reached Maya the next morning. By then, Maya had filed the fraud report, slept 3 hours in a cheap motel, and started searching for work. "Please call me when you can. I would like to thank you properly." Maya called to make sure Rebecca was all right. "Maya? This is Rebecca Vale." Maya went still. "Val, as in Vale Meridian. I know you missed your interview because you stayed with me," Rebecca said. "I want to fix that. I don't want a job because I helped you. I'm not offering you one. I'm asking human resources to give you the interview you already earned. And if I fail, then you fail. Fair enough." Adrian Vale did not agree. "You barely know her," he told Rebecca. "I know what she did when she thought I was a stranger, and now she knows who you are. She refused money before I offered any." 3 days later, Maya sat before a 4-person panel at Vale Meridian. Human Resources asked, "Why should we overlook the fact that you missed your original interview? You shouldn't. You should decide whether my reason matters." Adrian leaned back. "And if we decide it doesn't, then I leave." The final test was a struggling marketing campaign. Maya was given 20 minutes with the reports. She ignored the executive summary. She read the customer complaints. Then she pointed to 3 numbers. "You are targeting the people who already understand the service." One director frowned. "That is our market. It is your existing market. Smaller businesses are responding better. Your language is written for corporate procurement teams." Adrian watched her. "What would you change?" "Keep the corporate campaign. Build a second one around speed and simplicity for small businesses. Then let the conversion numbers decide. Cruce. That old lie. 1. End. 2. End. .or. Maya got the job. Marketing operations assistant. She earned it in the room. Rebecca offered to cover a hotel until Maya found a place. Maya refused. She found a small month-to-month room 4 bus stops from work. The landlord accepted her offer letter and agreed to take the deposit from her first paycheck. Rebecca sent a car on her first morning. Maya took the bus. Adrian heard about both. By the end of Maya's second week, he had formed an opinion. Either she was exactly what she appeared to be, or very patient. Maya was too busy to care. Then Kyle came to the office. He waited in the lobby until she came downstairs. "You reported me. You used my identity. You're ruining my life. You did that yourself." People turned. Kyle raised his voice. "Now you work for rich people and suddenly you don't have a family?" "Kyle, leave." Security approached. Kyle pulled out his phone. "Go ahead. Let everyone see what kind of sister you are." That evening, a 30-second clip appeared online. It showed Kyle shouting, security holding his arm, and Maya standing inside Vale Meridian. The caption claimed the chief executive's new favorite had her brother removed from the building. The story was false. Victor Vale made sure the board saw it. Victor was Adrian and Rebecca's uncle. The calm voice whenever the company faced trouble. At the next executive meeting, he put the clip on the screen. This is what happens when personal decisions become company liabilities. She is a junior employee, Adrian said. She is the woman Rebecca brought in after a very public rescue story. Rebecca Katin. I gave her an interview. Victor smiled. Investors will not care about the distinction. Adrian closed the laptop. The meeting is over. Victor did not move. Your birthday is 6 weeks away. That was the real threat. When Adrian's grandfather created the family trust, he included a condition. Adrian had hated it. For years, if Adrian reached 35 without a legal spouse, a temporary block of voting control would pass to the trust's designated guardian. That block lasted for 2 years. That guardian was Victor, and Victor wanted those votes to force through an asset sale Adrian opposed. After the meeting, Rebecca followed Adrian into his office. There is one legal way around the clause. No, you have not heard it. Yes, I have. A marriage. 6 months. Long enough to pass the trust date. Adrian stared at her. To who? Rebecca did not answer immediately. Adrian understood anyway. Maya? She has refused every advantage connected to us. Money. A hotel. A car. Even sympathy. That does not mean she will agree to marry me. No. It means she is the least likely person around you to treat marriage as a transaction for personal gain. Across the building, Maya was packing her desk. Human resources had not fired her. But she had seen the video. She would leave before Rebecca had to defend her again. Adrian found her holding a cardboard box. What are you doing? Making this easier for your company. I have a proposal. Maya looked at him. That sounds dangerous. It is. 20 minutes later, she sat in a private conference room reading a contract. 6 months. Separate finances. Separate bedrooms. No claim on Adrian's assets. No public details beyond what was legally necessary. Maya pushed the contract back. You want me to marry you? Yes. So your uncle does not get the votes? Yes. And the scandal disappears? That too? No. Adrian blinked. I just rebuilt my life. I'm not turning it into somebody else's business strategy. She walked out. The next morning, Maya returned with the contract covered in notes. If I do this, you do not control my career. No promotions from you. No salary decisions. No discipline. No private favors at work. Adrian read the changes. Our legal committee will disclose the conflict. You report through an independent chain. I recuse myself from every employment decision involving you. Maya studied him. And if the committee says no, then there is no marriage. She added one final note. Everything in writing. Adrian signed. Maya signed after him. Rebecca waited until the papers were closed. Then she looked at the brass compass around Maya's neck. Where did you get that? My father. Rebecca's voice changed. What was his name? Daniel Reed. Rebecca went completely still. For a moment she was back at the early Vale Meridian site meetings, where Daniel had carried that same compass on his field bag. The crescent notch, already cut into its edge. Adrian looked at his sister. Maya looked at both of them. The contract was still on the table, but suddenly it was no longer the most dangerous secret in the room. The marriage changed almost nothing on paper. That was the point. Maya kept her salary. Adrian kept his assets. The legal committee documented their conflict arrangement. Maya reported through an independent chain, and Adrian had no authority over her pay, promotion, or discipline. They slept in separate rooms and told the public only what the lawyers required. Real life did not stay inside the contract. 3 days after the courthouse ceremony, a photographer caught Maya leaving the converted brownstone, where she rented a room. She left before sunrise. By noon, 2 gossip sites had published her address. Adrian called. You cannot stay there. I can. You have reporters outside. I noticed. This is security, Maya. She hated that he was right. That evening, she moved into the guest suite of Adrian's townhouse with 2 suitcases, 1 box of books, and the brass compass around her neck. She kept the rented room in her own name and paid for it herself. A driver waited the next morning. She walked past him. At breakfast, Adrian looked up from his coffee. You sent the car back. I have a bus pass. You are married to me now. I am legally married to you. I can still get to work. Fine. At the office. Maya changed nothing. No executive dining room. No better desk. No requests for special treatment. She worked with the same team. Adrian had expected questions about money. There were none. She asked for better campaign data. He had wanted a wife who would not complicate his life. Instead, he found himself watching the one person in the building who seemed determined not to take anything from him. The first crack in that distance came during a campaign. It was failing 2 days before launch. By 7 that night, most of the floor had emptied. Maya stayed with 3 junior analysts. Adrian passed the conference room at 10:30 and found them surrounded by reports and cold takeout. You are still here. We found the problem. The agency had used old customer segments after pricing changed. One analyst pointed to the screen. The new price pushed part of the audience out. Maya said, "We can fix the launch if we rewrite the offer tonight." Adrian looked at the team. Who caught it? They looked at Maya. She shook her head. Priya noticed the drop. Marcus found the pricing overlap. I just made them compare the reports. Oh, 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 oh. The revised campaign worked. At the executive review, Maya gave the credit to the team. Later, Adrian found her at the coffee machine. You could have taken that win. It was not mine. Most people here would have. Then most people here need better hobbies. He almost smiled. The second crack came through Rebecca. Since the attack, Rebecca had avoided parking garages. She told everyone she was fine. She was not. One evening, Maya found her in Adrian's living room. She was breathing too fast, her hands trembling. Rebecca tried to stand. I should go. No, I am embarrassing myself. You are having a bad 5 minutes. That is not the same thing. Maya sat beside her. She did not ask questions. She stayed. When Adrian came downstairs 20 minutes later, Rebecca was asleep against the sofa. Maya was beside her in silence. Adrian stopped in the doorway. Maya whispered, "She does not need you to fix anything tonight." After Rebecca left, Adrian poured 2 glasses of water. You do that a lot. What? Stay when leaving would be easier. Maya looked down at the glass. Sometimes leaving costs more. The townhouse felt different after that. 2 nights later, Maya came home after 11 and found Adrian standing in the kitchen. An unopened dinner sat beside him. You forgot to eat. I was working. That is not an answer. She reheated the food without asking. Adrian watched her move around a kitchen that had never felt like anyone's home. You know you do not have to take care of me. I am heating soup, not taking custody of you. This time he did smile. While they ate, Adrian nodded toward the compass at her throat. Is that the only thing you have from your father? Yes. What do you remember about him? Maya traced the damaged edge with 1 finger, enough to miss him. Not enough to know which version of him was real. Adrian wanted to ask more. He did not. For Maya, his restraint mattered. Victor noticed the change before either of them would admit it. Now he started asking questions. Where had she grown up? Who had raised her? Why had Rebecca reacted to her father's name? Victor hired someone quietly. The first useful information came from Kyle. He received a message offering money for old family records connected to Daniel Reed. He asked how much. A week later, Victor had old photographs, school forms, and an inventory showing that Denise still had boxes from Daniel in a storage unit. Rebecca was investigating too. She came to Maya after dinner one night. I checked the name you gave me. Maya straightened. Daniel Reed worked at Vale Meridian. No. Denise said he did small contract jobs, got into debt, and disappeared. He was an engineer here. Maya said nothing. Rebecca continued carefully. He worked on systems used in the company's first major expansion. Then there was a failure on a project called Harbor East. Daniel was blamed for concealing a defect. Daniel. Where's for it? 2000 Daniel. Wirt. Chapter Lee. Did he? I do not know yet. That is not an answer. No, it is not. Rebecca hesitated. There is something else. The ordinary personnel file stops without a resignation letter or termination notice. It directs me to a sealed founders review. Founders? I do not know what that means yet. Who sealed it? Rebecca placed one printed authorization on the table. Victor Vale's signature was at the bottom. Maya looked at Adrian. He looked as surprised as she felt. For the first time, the danger in their marriage did not come from the contract. It came from a man who had been watching them from the beginning. Rebecca got access to Daniel Reed's founders review 4 days later. She called Maya first. I found what they did to him. Maya met her in a private records room beneath Vale Meridian's legal offices. Adrian arrived minutes later. Rebecca placed an old safety memo on the table. Daniel warned the company 6 weeks before Harbor East failed. Maya read it. A subcontractor change had reduced costs. It altered the load assumptions on part of the structure. Daniel recommended stopping the work until the calculations and support specifications were reviewed. The change went forward anyway. Who approved it? Maya asked. Rebecca turned the page. Victor Vale. Adrian's jaw tightened. Rebecca added another document. Harbor East was already over budget. Victor had personally promised the board he could bring it back under target. Reversing the subcontractor change would have exposed the cuts and probably cost him control of the project. Maya understood. When it failed, he needed someone else to own it, and Daniel had written proof that he objected. Adrian said. Rebecca nodded. He was not just a convenient scapegoat. He was the person most capable of proving Victor knew. Maya stared at her father's signature. For 19 years, she had been told Daniel ran because he was guilty. Now the first piece of evidence she had ever seen in his own hand said the opposite. Maya spent that afternoon in the small room she had kept instead of Adrian's townhouse. She spread copies of Daniel's records across the small table. It was where she used to eat. Alone. The strangest part was not seeing Victor's name. It was seeing her father's handwriting. The letters leaned slightly to the right, just like the notes he used to leave in her lunchbox when she was little. For years, Daniel Reed had existed in her memory as a warning. Now, for the first time, he looked like a person again. Rebecca opened a second folder. There is more. Daniel had held a small founder equity position from the company's early expansion period. It was not enough to control Vale Meridian. It was enough to give him standing inside the company. What happened to it? The records say it was frozen pending the Harbor East investigation. Was there a final ruling? No. Maya looked from Rebecca to Adrian. So my father was accused by this company. His ownership was frozen by this company. And then he disappeared. Adrian said, I did not know. Rebecca did not defend herself. I knew his name after you told me. I did not know this. Maya picked up an old newspaper clipping from the file. Her father stood outside a courthouse. The headline called him reckless. Another photograph showed Victor beside Adrian's father at a press conference, promising accountability. The room suddenly felt too small. That night, Adrian found Maya on the balcony with 2 cups of tea. You made one for me? I made 2 by accident. You never make tea by accident. She handed him a cup. For a while, neither spoke. Then Maya said, if there were no trust clause, no board, No Victor. Would you ever have chosen me? Adrian looked at her. The answer had become yes weeks ago. Saying it now felt like asking her to trust a veil, while she was holding proof that a veil had destroyed her father. He hesitated. Maya saw it. Forget I asked. Maya, it is fine. She went inside. The next morning she found one more article. It described Daniel as a disgraced engineer who had abandoned his family after the Harbor East scandal. Maya read it 3 times. Then she called Denise. Did my father ever contact me after he left? Silence. Maya, this is not a conversation for the phone. That means yes. He sent things. What things? Letters. Sometimes money. Maya gripped the phone. You told me he abandoned me. You were a child. You told me he died without trying to reach me. I did what I thought was best. For who? Denise hung up. When Adrian came home that evening, Maya's suitcase was on the bed. He stopped. What happened? Denise admitted my father wrote to me. Adrian said nothing. Maya held up the Harbor East article. Your family buried his name. Mine buried his letters. I am sorry. Did you know any of this when you asked me to marry you? No. Rebecca recognized that compass before the contract was signed. She recognized a compass. She did not know you were Daniel Reed's daughter. You expect me to separate those things right now? Yes. But I understand. If you cannot. Maya removed the ring and placed it on the dresser. I want the separation clause activated. Adrian stared at the ring. You are leaving tonight? Yes. Where will you go? Somewhere that is mine. He wanted to stop her. The contract gave him no right. Love gave him no right either. So he moved aside. At the door, he said, I am going to find out everything. Maya did not turn. Do it because it is true. Not because you want me back. Then she left. Adrian went to Vale Meridian instead of following her. Rebecca was already in the archive room. Together they found a board memorandum dated 3 weeks after Harbor East. Adrian's father had requested an independent review of the allegations against Daniel. The request never reached a vote. A handwritten notation stopped it. Hold pending council review. Victor Vale. Then Adrian found the escrow ledger. It confirmed what Rebecca had already uncovered about Daniel's frozen founder equity. But one line neither of them had noticed before changed everything. Under succession rights, 4 words appeared. Heirs subject to verification. Adrian looked at Rebecca. If the record was valid, Maya might have a legal claim to part of the company Victor was trying to control. And Victor had just paid Kyle for access to Daniel Reed's old records. Before sunrise, Adrian and Rebecca found money the memo had not mentioned. Money. A consulting company Victor controlled had transferred money to the inspector. That inspector later testified Daniel had concealed the defect. Rebecca stared at the date. 11 days before the hearing, a forensic accountant found 2 more transfers. The payments turned the cover-up into a trail of proof they could follow. Adrian called Maya. She did not answer. He left one message. We found evidence. I am not asking you to come back. I am asking you to let us clear your father's name. I. Maya listened twice. If Daniel had warned them, someone had spent nearly 20 years training her to believe her father was a coward. Then Denise called. Victor Vale contacted Kyle. Maya stood. How does Kyle know Victor? He offered him money for anything that belonged to your father. What did Kyle give him? Pictures. Papers. Things from the storage unit. What things? Denise hesitated. There was a notebook. Maya closed her eyes. Daniel's notebook. The one Denise had always called worthless. Where is Kyle? I do not know. Maya called Adrian. Kyle may have given Victor my father's notebook. That changed everything. The notebook appeared in Daniel's original evidence inventory. Then it vanished. If it still existed, it might hold the technical notes the company insisted Daniel never wrote. Victor had paid Kyle for the original. Kyle kept a scan. Then he demanded more money before destroying the notebook. Victor answered with a threat. Take what you were paid and disappear. Or I tell police you stole company evidence and tried to extort me. Kyle finally understood what Victor did to people once they became inconvenient. He hired an attorney to protect himself. The attorney contacted Rebecca. The annual shareholder meeting began the next morning. The board had not completed its review. Victor moved first. A financial blog had already claimed the chief executive's secret wife was preparing to seize founders' shares. Maya entered through the side doors. Rebecca met her. You do not have to sit through this. Yes, I do. Victor stood beneath the Vale Meridian logo. We are facing an attempt to exploit an old tragedy for personal gain. Maya's photograph appeared on the screen beside Daniel Reed's. Miss Reed entered this company through a personal connection. She then entered a private marriage with our chief executive. Now she claims to be heir to an ownership interest no one has recognized in decades. Maya felt hundreds of eyes turn. Victor looked at Adrian. There is still time to separate this company from her claim. Adrienne rose. My marriage is not the issue. Victor smiled. Then we agree. No. The issue is whether this company is about to let the man who buried evidence control another vote. The room changed. Adrian placed Daniel's safety memo on the screen. Then the revised engineering report. Then the payments to the Harbor East inspector. Victor's expression hardened. These materials have not been reviewed. Correct, Adrian said. Which is why the vote stops here. Victor turned toward the chair. You do not have that authority. Outside counsel stood. The board does. Rebecca seconded the motion for an emergency recess. The vote was suspended. The public meeting ended in confusion. The real fight moved upstairs. In the closed emergency board session, outside counsel reviewed the documents. The forensic accountant presented the payment trail. Kyle's attorney provided Victor's messages. Then Kyle entered with the original notebook sealed for evidence. He did not apologize to Maya. He barely looked at her. He was there because cooperating was now the safest option he had left. An independent engineer had already compared the notebook to Daniel's known records. Daniel had documented the subcontractor change. He had recalculated the risk. He had warned management twice. 3 days before the failure, he wrote that if the company proceeded without review, the engineer would be blamed when the decision failed. Maya read the line. Her father had known exactly what kind of people he was dealing with. Victor looked at Adrian. You are destroying this company over a woman you barely know. Adrian stayed calm. No. I am refusing to protect it with a lie. By afternoon, the board suspended Victor from company authority. An external investigation was pending. The Harbor East matter was referred to outside investigators. Daniel's founder stake was not handed to Maya. It entered formal legal verification. 2 days later, Vale Meridian issued a public statement, withdrawing its old accusation that Daniel had concealed the Harbor East defect. His name was restored to the company's founding technical record. That mattered to Maya more than the shares. For the first time since she was a child, Daniel Reed was not being described as the man who ran. Adrian came to see her after the statement was released. He handed her a signed document. What is this? A waiver. Adrian had permanently waived any marital claim to Daniel's founder stake. He also waived any settlement connected to it, and any property Maya might inherit through the Reed estate. You signed this before the board meeting? Yes. You did not know if they would remove you? No. You did not know if I would come back? No. Then why? For most of my life, every decision had to be good for Vale Meridian. He paused. I needed one decision that was good for you even if it gave me nothing. Maya's eyes burned, but she did not move toward him. Not yet. Rebecca approached with a small envelope. There is one more thing. Maya recognized the handwriting before Rebecca said the name. Daniel Reed. The envelope had never been opened. Across the front, in faded ink, were the words, for Maya. When she is old enough to understand. Maya looked at Rebecca. Where did you find this? Denise turned over the storage boxes after counsel demanded an inventory. Maya stared at the letter. Vale Meridian had buried her father's name, but someone much closer to her had buried his last words. 3 months later, Maya had an apartment with her own name on the lease, a stable job, and a life no contract could explain. 6 weeks earlier, after Adrian had passed the trust date, the marriage that began as a contract had legally ended. Neither of them had tried to stop it. The legal review of Daniel Reed's founder stake was still underway. Maya let the lawyers handle it. She had spent too many years believing money could define whether someone stayed or left. She would not let it define her now. Vale Meridian asked her to stay after the Harbor East review. Maya agreed only after her independent reporting line was made permanent. She moved into a project strategy role connected to customer operations, where her work could be judged on results instead of her name. Adrian had no authority over her salary or promotion. That remained non-negotiable. The fraudulent loan was removed from Maya's credit. Kyle accepted responsibility for using her identity and selling Daniel's records. His cooperation in the Victor investigation did not erase what he had done. It only changed how the consequences were handled. Denise was required to turn over the money Daniel had sent for Maya after her mother died. It was not a fortune. The bank records mattered more. Daniel had continued sending support through Denise while Maya was still a minor. He had written repeatedly. Denise had kept most of the letters. Daniel died when Maya was 17. For the first time, Maya felt how cruelly something had been taken from her. Her father had not stopped trying. Someone else had kept the truth from her. Maya had not spoken to Denise since. She was not ready. Some things needed time. Daniel's final letter sat unopened for almost a week. Finally, one Sunday morning, Maya sat by the window and broke the seal. My dearest Maya, if you are reading this, then someone finally chose the truth over what was convenient. He wrote about her first bicycle, the crackers she hid under her pillow, and the nights she stayed up waiting for him to come home. He told her he was sorry. Adults had turned their failures into the burden she would have to carry. Near the end, he wrote, "You may hear that I left because I did not love you enough to stay. That is not true. There will be times when doing the right thing costs you something. Pay the cost if it lets you live with the person you become afterward." Maya lowered the letter. She thought of a parking garage, blood on concrete, an elevator 30 feet away, 6 minutes, and a stranger telling her to go. Her father had never known Rebecca Vale. He could not have known what Maya faced that morning, but the choice still felt familiar. Adrian never asked when she was coming back. He sent no flowers, no jewelry, no speeches through Rebecca. He gave her something he had never known how to give: space. Then, on a Tuesday morning, Maya joined an interview panel for a new operations analyst. The first candidate was late. A young woman reached reception holding a folder against her chest. "I know I missed my time," she said. "There was an accident on Fulton Avenue. A cyclist was hurt. I stayed until the ambulance came." The receptionist checked the schedule. "The panel has already started." Maya had heard those words before. Rebecca stood near the elevators and heard them too. Maya walked to the desk. "She is interviewing with my team." The receptionist looked up. "She is 20 minutes late." "I know." Maya looked at the applicant. "Can you still do the interview?" "Yes." "Then you still have to earn the job." The woman nodded quickly. "Thank you." Maya opened the conference room door. "Come with me." The interview lasted 40 minutes. They did not reject her for stopping to help a stranger. She was hired because she gave the strongest interview of the day. Maya made sure the distinction mattered. When she came downstairs, Adrian was waiting outside. No board members, no cameras, no lawyers, just Adrian. Maya stopped. "You planned this, the interview?" "No." "Good." He smiled. "I learned not to take credit for other people's work." Then he held out a small box. Maya's expression changed. The old ring is in my desk, Adrian said. I do not want you to wear it again. He opened the box. A different ring. Simple. No contract attached. Maya looked at him. What happens to Vale Meridian if I say no? Nothing. The trust? Nothing. The board? Nothing. So this solves no business problem. None. Then why are you here? Adrian closed the box. Because the first time I asked you to marry me, I needed something. He took a breath. This time I do not need anything from you. Maya said nothing. I loved the woman who stopped when she could have kept walking. The woman who refused my money. The woman who gave credit away when she could have taken it. The woman who told me the truth when everyone around me had learned to tell a chief executive what he wanted to hear. His voice softened. I do not love you because you are Daniel Reed's daughter. I do not love you because you may own part of this company. And I do not love you because my sister thinks I should. A small smile touched Maya's face. That last one will disappoint Rebecca. She will recover. 3 months earlier, Maya had walked out of Vale Meridian believing she had lost the chance that would change her life. She had been wrong. The interview had never been the moment that changed everything for her. The choice in the garage had. Adrian opened the box again. No deadline. No clause. No strategy. Maya Reed. Will you marry me because you want to? She let him wait, just long enough to make sure the answer belonged entirely to her. Then she smiled. Yes. Adrian slid the ring onto her finger. Through the lobby windows, Maya could see people moving toward elevators, meetings, interviews, and decisions that seemed ordinary until they were not. Once, she had thought missing an interview was the day her life went off course. Now she knew better. It was the day she chose the road that was truly hers.